Hey everyone, today I want to take just a brief moment to talk about one of my favorite Web 2.0 tools, Voicethread. Voicethread is a website, but it also comes as an app for both Android and iOS or Apple devices. Voicethread is digital storytelling at its best, but I see teachers using it for all sorts of reasons. I have seen math, science, social studies, language arts, and even art teachers at all different areas or levels from elementary all the way to higher ed use VoiceThread to give students a way to express their understanding of material. And it's not just about that. It's also given students the ability to let their voices be heard and connect with a global society. All right, and when you scroll down to the bottom, there's all sorts of things for you to read here on how to use the tool. But what I've noticed under the About section is a digital library. So when I click on the digital library, I see some disciplines. So I'll pick, say, social studies. And then I see some exemplary kind of text, or samples. So I'll take third grade school community. So first of all, I see a description, some tools, some explanations, and I see a sample VoiceThread down here. So you can click play.
Hey, do you think our school community looks like her operation because we include...
And the student is probably responding or explaining the slide. If you see multiple slides, usually there's like more than one block here. This one must only have one. Yeah, these are just people responding. Whereas if there were multiple slides, you would see multiple squares down here. Anyway, so I see there's math, there's English language arts, so take a look at that. Even if you don't have a VoiceThread account yet, that's fine, because you really can still look around. I've also noticed that I jumped on Twitter and did a search for VoiceThread, and I found lots of tweets from the VoiceThread, of course, but I also saw tweets of other people just talking about their use of VoiceThread, the tool. So check that out too. You can try to go to YouTube and see, but I found more instructional videos there. I didn't think they were as helpful. Now, one thing I like to do is discuss or brainstorm every tool I try to integrate in the classroom. I always compare it against what's called the SAMR model. And that helps me decide, is my tool, is it just enhancing or is it really transforming my classroom or transforming the way I teach? And of course, enhancement is good. Okay, but I really like to shoot for the transformative piece. It was developed by Ruben Pentadura, and really it's just 4 rungs, and each rung means something different. So first of all, we have substitution. The technology acts as a direct tool substitute. There's really no functional change. So with VoiceThread, that would be, let's say I had my students journaling on a story we were reading, a short story or novel. Instead, I might have them respond on a VoiceThread just back to me or back to my prompts in a VoiceThread. So I had 4 slides. Each one was a prompt, and they responded, end of story. Okay. That would be an example of how I'm using VoiceThread as a substitute. Okay. Now, what if I went to the next rung and thought about augmentation? Technology acts as a direct substitute or direct tool substitute, but there's functional improvement. So let's say I had, or teachers or myself, created VoiceThreads for students to discuss their own writing samples. They were discussing each other's work. Maybe they were discussing points in history, facts about their community. So they were using it more to discuss. So you may have, say, student Billy respond. He might comment on a previous comment by Sally and say something like, Sally, I agree with you. When I think of community too, the first thing that comes to my mind is, where's the school? And so they might have this little discussion. So if you want students to respond to each other about various topics, there's a good chance you're using VoiceThread to augment something you usually do in the classroom. So those 2 levels are what Pentadura calls the enhancement level. But now we start looking at the transformative level, and this for me is where I start getting goosebumps, because my ideas always reach out past the school, past my classroom. So let's look at the modification level. Students use technology, and it allows for significant task redesign. So let's say I have students peer edit papers. But if I used VoiceThread to gather peer feedback that way, that would be pretty neat. Let's say I had a student photograph or I scanned in their story with an illustration, and then I had classmates across all of my sections, or maybe I looked at my teammates, my other grade level teachers, and we commented on each other's stories using audio or webcam. That would be really neat, wouldn't it? That would definitely fit under the modification. It's significant task redesign that I couldn't have done otherwise. Now, the top rung is called redefinition. It's where the technology allows for just totally new tasks previously inconceivable. So, for example, what if I had students, not teachers, students create voice threads on their favorite locations in Wisconsin? And then what if I took those voice threads and shared them with maybe via Twitter or Google Plus or some other means of networking, and I shared them with schools, say on the opposite end of Wisconsin, up in Hayward, Wisconsin, or Superior, and I asked them to do the same thing, meaning comment on our voice threads about your favorite places to go in Wisconsin. So if I had students pick their 6 favorite places and they made these voice threads, the students in the other end of Wisconsin could comment on those, right? And then I could even take those and send them to the Wisconsin Tourism Board or some Chamber of Commerce and see if they're willing to comment. It kind of takes what is a simple classroom exercise and makes it something so much more. Like the walls of the classroom really fall when you start thinking about the transformative type of classroom. And VoiceThread, in this example, really becomes a great vehicle to do that. So here's another example of redefinition. Teachers could create voice threads for students to interview elders within the community on historical events or family customs. And because we just had Veterans Day, my mind is thinking about grandparents coming into school and talking to their grandchildren about certain periods in history, certain events, things that they went through. And how awesome would it be to capture those in voice threads? Voice thread responses, or start your own voice thread. Have the students create their own. To me, it would just be so special to capture that audio and video of a grandchild and a grandparent talking about something in the community, a time in history, a family tradition or a custom, and capture that all on video or audio because of your assignment. Right? I get all upset just talking about it because I think it has the opportunity to really make a difference in what you do. Beyond just what that could have just been the typical family heritage research paper, but now it's become something so much more powerful, right? And VoiceThread adds that element of storytelling that is so important in our culture. So if you're looking to study a little bit about what VoiceThread is, I would love to help you. There are blog posts about it. If you hop on Google, you can just do a search for VoiceThread. Go to Twitter, do a search. But I would love to sit down with anyone and talk about how VoiceThread can be so transformative in a classroom. And even if you don't shoot for those top runs, it still is a valid tool to enhance your classroom, to give students the ability, chance, the opportunity to communicate, to share, to express ideas in ways that they hadn't before. So check it out, voicethread.com, and if you would like some help, I'd love to do that. Thanks.